Hello everybody, Mr. O here, and this is the value lesson worksheet redo. We're still dealing with the foundations of art, and value is a big thing, not just for pencil art, but just using any color. And when I first did this video, and this is just a photocopy, but you can still see some things are hard to see. My camera quality wasn't as good, and I didn't know how to do time lapse at that time, so I cut things that I shouldn't have. You couldn't see some things that are very important, so I'm redoing the video. So let's start with what we need. Number one, I do have my value worksheet, and you don't have to have a worksheet. You can just get a ruler, make boxes, and just go from that and just write value. And of course, value is the range of light to dark in pencil and color, whatever you want to deem it as. I'm using a Ticonderoga pencil, and of course this is a black one, so you can't really see it says Ticonderoga. An ebony pencil, and this is a Soho. Any ebony pencil, or you could use a 4B or a 6B if you like. And then I have a smudging stylus, paper stylus, however you want to call it. It's just really tight wadded paper that I can just use for smudging and keep my finger clean. I do have a tissue, and while I did pull out this eraser, I'm most likely going to use my kneaded eraser because it's just the one I prefer. Now, the first thing I would do, if this was a class assignment, I would ask you to put your name up in the corner and what class period you're doing it. Now, if you're just doing it for yourself, you don't need to put your name on it. So going from light to dark, let's just establish two things. One, we're not doing anything in the first box. Two, we're going to press as hard as we can in the last box. And this is where having a regular pencil, an HB pencil number 2, and a very dark pencil makes it real easy. And what I first do, I want you to notice how I'm holding my hand, not at the very tip like I'm writing something. The closer my fingers are to the top of the pencil, or I should say to the tip of the pencil, the darker I seem to go. So I want to be back a little bit. And at first I'm going to go as gentle as I can. Don't worry if you start off a little too dark. Hopefully you'll have a hard time of kind of seeing that, but you can see it just well enough that there's two different shades. The value has gone up 1. Now I'm going to go to the next square, and you'll notice that I'm doing it pretty much even. And I'm going to go outside my square because I want you to not worry. This is not about being like super neat. You try your best, but if you make mistakes, don't worry about it. Because mistakes are going to happen. But I'm going to go over a second time. I'm going to push just a little bit harder. And you should see I've increased my value. And you can see how this gradation is going to work. And of course, I got my next square. And it's going to be exactly the same thing. And don't worry, at some point I'm going to put this in time lapse so you're not just watching me shade boxes really dark, but I'll do that when I switch to the ebony pencil. I just want to tell you about one thing with the ebony pencil. One more box with the regular pencil here. And value is the most important thing when it comes to art. It doesn't matter if you don't like to color or anything like that. Probably the biggest mistake is students do color with a pencil. They're not adding value, they're just making things dark. They're still light and dark. There's no medium light, no dark medium. As you can see, I've increased a little bit as I've gone. Not too perfect, I'm not staying in the line because that honestly doesn't matter. Now I'm going to switch to the ebony pencil, and the first thing I'm going to do is try to just go even. It doesn't take much. I'll even back off of it. As you can see, me going light is pretty dark. Imagine when I press as hard as I can. Now I'm going to put the rest of this in time lapse, and I'm going to go over this one more time, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to go as dark as I can on the last one, just so you see how dark it gets. Okay, well, hopefully you can see the gradation going from light to dark, that it's coming through. And one of the biggest mistakes new learners on Value make is they go too dark too quick. Don't worry if you do. If you have a basic understanding, it will come to you. The other thing is, don't hesitate to do it a second time. Practice. That's how we get better. We do learn a lot from our mistakes, but we still have to practice it. Now, what is very important when you're working on pencil pictures or any pictures is different ways to create the value within your picture. And these are just the 3 techniques we're going to focus on: hatching, cross-hatching, and smudging. And when it comes to hatching, think of it as controlled lines. The farther I get from each other, the lighter it's going to be, and then the closer I get, the darker it's going to be. And that's one way, and you don't need to do the whole box just with dash. Just do a corner just to have a basic understanding. And of course, cross-hatching is doing those lines again, as you can see what I'm doing here. And then naturally you cross. And the smaller the cross, the darker it would be. And I'm not going to cross everything, just so you can see the difference between hatching and cross-hatching. Hopefully that's coming through the video this time. As I said, the first time I did that, I had a little trouble with the focus of the camera work, but things are new and different. So now I'm going to switch to my Ebony Pencil and my Smudging Stylus. You're going to say, why did he have a Smudging Stylus? He hasn't even used it. So what I'm going to do is, since I know I'm just doing the square, I'm doing a circular motion, and I'm just going to spread it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to just take this, and same thing, circular motion, I'm going to move the graphite. Now I can push a little harder to keep it dark, and I can spread it a little bit more and just have a little control. That's why I love these paper stylus, these smudging sticks, because they do give you control. And so how does that look? And then the final thing, and this is where I'm just going to drop it into time lapse. And the last one I did a skull, so I thought I'd do something a little different, since, you know, the other things with foundations of art is using shapes. I'm going to do something just kind of focused around a shape. And I will talk to you again soon, and enjoy the rest of the video. And probably before I start, I should explain, on the sketch part, draw whatever you want that you feel like is going to show value, and possibly use one or all 3 of the smudging techniques. All right.